As much as we would love to Amazon Prime ourselves a spouse who would just arrive on the door like, hello, I'm ready. That's not how it works. And as cozy as it can be to stay inside and to not try anything, we have to put ourselves out there, but in a way that leaves it up to God. We're not forcing it. Are you trusting God or avoiding risk? A lot of us Christians can find ourselves in this space where we are waiting on God to literally hand deliver our spouse in front of us, or with this whole idea of being authors of our lives, co-creators, and needing to manufacture and make something happen. And it's fair enough, because we are all questioning, is God the ultimate author of our lives, or is he inviting us to co-create with him? And the fact is that it's not either or, it's both and. God asks us to have faith, but to also take action. It ultimately means that God is inviting us to combine faith with diligent effort. And that means that God's timing does not replace our own responsibility. It just guides it. Being proactive looks like, saying yes to invites, joining things, taking up hobbies, living a full life, starting conversations with new people, going on dates, communicating clearly, and working on yourself to heal any wounds or unhealthy patterns that might be sabotaging you when it comes to your dating life. Plus, removing any sabotaging self-beliefs or dynamics about yourself that are stopping you from, putting your most confident foot forward, from forgetting who you are and whose you are, because you are God's. But on the flip side of this, we also know from personal experience that we can force outcomes, that we can actually try to take too much control of our lives and not trust God enough. And that looks like chasing unavailable people or trying to control every outcome. And I get it, it feels so hard when you are praying, and it just feels like nothing is happening. And it can even impact your own relationship with God, because you can feel like he's withholding from you, like he's being a bad father to you, that he's not hearing your needs or seeing the times that you've cried from worry, from loneliness, from this aching desire to have a family, and you're not there yet. I really get it. But what helps me is to count all of the blessings, all the gifts, all the graces that God has actually given me, and to recognize them, to be grateful for them, and to believe that if he's done that, he's gonna do that and so much more. And as much as it can be frustrating to hear, we have to see the extra gifts that God is giving us during this time, during the time of singleness. So don't stop praying. In fact, pray. Pray that God directs each next right thing. It might be that he gives you a little God nudge to go work in a cafe today, to take up a new sport, to visit a new church, or go to a new young adult group. And in that, there's a key distinction between action and control. You're taking action, but you're not claiming to be in control. You're acting, but God is determining the fruit of those actions. And an analogy that I really like, and it helps me to visualize it, is that God cannot move a parked car. So you have to be moving in order for God to steer you, to lead you to where he wants you to go. If we stay stuck, as much as we would love to Amazon Prime ourselves a spouse who would just arrive on the door like, hello, I'm ready. That's not how it works. And as cozy as it can be to stay inside and to not try anything, we have to put ourselves out there, but in a way that leaves it up to God. We're not forcing it. So I used to be obsessed with this timeline I had, which God definitely humored and humbled me about. And in that timeline, when I was getting very close to certain milestones that were meant to happen, didn't. I remember being a bit obsessed. Like I would think, okay, which guys are in my life who may be my spouse who I could, push into this timeline and hit these milestones with? And it was so unnatural, and it was so forced, and it wasn't trusting God, it wasn't trusting God's timing. And it just was very against the tide. It didn't feel easy. It didn't have that flow. The Holy Spirit tells us that we feel peace. And I think we'd feel at one with God, when we're just really trying to force things, force the outcomes, control everything. You will know when you're trying to do that. So there's that difference between taking action and just trying to white knuckle your way into a scenario or a relationship. And we just have to lean into that peace. That peace ultimately comes from obedience rather than certainty. We can't think like, oh, as soon as I meet this person, everything's gonna be fine. Because as much as we think that this is like the number one prize, right, finding our spouse, the inner work that God is calling us to trust Him, to abide in Him, is something that He's going to ask of us whether we're in a relationship or we're not. So the sooner we're able to really get ourselves right with God, trust God, listen to His nudges and His directions. You know, sometimes God closes doors in our faces, and it can be incredibly painful until you realize where He was leading you or where He was gently moving you towards. So I think when we get to this point, to this place where we're able to see how God is co-authoring our lives, with of course the knowledge that we have free will and He wants us to use that, we can see how we can really work together and to abide with Him. That is such a lovely word. And I think that can encourage us to not necessarily just like sit back and expect something to happen out of the blue, but to also not cling or grasp, more to go out with open hands, you know, going out with open hands, living our life, living out, you know, the gifts and charisms and interests that God has put on your heart, and seeing what happens. So remember that ultimately you're not going to find your person, your vocation, your spouse by hiding from it. So as much as it is tempting to stay home, put yourself out there, as much as it is tempting to not put yourself on a dating app, try it. You never know. Like, you really could spark up such an amazing conversation with someone who maybe lives in your area or who lives halfway across the world, but somehow it's going to work, because nothing is impossible with God. So remember, my friends, to take steps to stay open and to let God work through your movement. He's not going to move a parked car, so make sure that you're not just parked on your sofa, as cozy and nice as it is. So I hope this has been encouraging, because I know it's something that I've struggled with myself, and as always, I would love to read your comments, and don't forget to subscribe to Salt for more content about how to date from this really Christ-centered way when you're a person of faith and you want to abide with Jesus in every part of your life. God bless you, and see you in the next one. Bye.